You're just perp back with another video, and I just got done watching Doom Patrol Season 2, Episode 3, and let's talk about it. But before I get into this review, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and follow me on Twitter at perpminded420. Now, right off the bat, these first 3 episodes are incredible. It just feels like I'm getting a lot of horror vibes, and you'll see why. But pretty much, let's start off with my negatives of this episode. We can get this out the way real quickly. Cyborg and Ronnie. You know, it's cool that they're kicking things off, they're getting closer, they have a lot in common, but it still was like my least favorite thing about this episode. I still don't hate it, or I don't dislike it. It just, the other stuff that was going on in this episode were much better. Speaking of which, you know, this episode starts off with more backstory on Niles and just him as a child, him seeing his first first murder by this version of Jack the Ripper, which I gotta say, this dude is very intimidating. I'll get into a little bit more into his character later on in this review. Going back to Doom Manor, but back at Doom Manor, things are still, you know, kind of divided. Cliff is really going hard on, you know, the chief and just really going at him and disrespecting his daughter and all this stuff, and he really has a lot of anger built up, and you know, it shows throughout this episode. And we'll get more into Cliff's character as well throughout this episode. But as Niles is talking to his daughter, Dorothy, you know, you start to see these butterflies. And they teased these butterflies in the previous episode. So it ends up being Jack, or the Ripper, or however you want to, you know, call him. You could just call him Jack, I guess. And he pays Niles a visit and says, yo, I got Larry hostage, you better come, you know, you're invited to my realm. And this is where Niles pretty much warns Rita not to get separated. If we do, just follow the butterflies. Then we get a quick scene of where Cliff and Jane on the road heading to some destination while Jane passes out, and all of a sudden you see all her different personalities in a circle, and they're getting ready to give Jane an intervention. Then it jumps back to Larry hanging from the ceiling with his bandages like coming undone and whatnot, and we get a lot of flashbacks between Rita and Larry throughout this episode, which was really dope, because I'm always cool with them giving us more backstories on these characters, and I'm liking that we're learning more about these characters as the story progresses, as they go through things in the present day. So we also get a scene of Dorothy in this episode, and she's talking to all of her friends that she talks to in her head. They're all a bunch of weird creatures, like one's a spider, one has like a mirrored face, light bulbs and stuff, and that candled face demon Make-A-Wish, you know, voice that was talking to Dorothy, I think is still going to be a major player within this season later on. But then we get to one of my favorite scenes or favorite parts of the overall episode, or you could say story so far of this season, with Crazy Jane, and how her personalities are kind of giving her an ultimatum, like it's either us or them, but if you choose them, we're going to choose a new primary, but if you choose us, we'll let you be. And we get more backstory on Crazy Jane that we didn't get before, and it's dope. Like I said, I'm always down for that. So now this is probably my favorite part of this whole episode, where Cliff says, hey, I'm gonna just go knock on my daughter's door and just tell her what it is, which kind of blows up in his face. And you know, was really bad timing because he's just running off of emotions. He's got the cops called on him, and he's just causing a scene, but making it entertaining for other people around him to watch because they've never seen a robot just talking, and his daughter is just in disbelief. I lied. This is my favorite part of this episode, where we get Niles confronting Jack finally, and Rita also getting split up trying to look for Larry. We see these butterflies, which she does, and he's not looking too good. He's strung out. There's people on the floor in like these cocoons, and this dude is so dope as a villain. It's kind of sad to see him kind of just get killed off that quickly, or who knows, he might come back. But that's what I say, like, I think Niles is definitely my favorite character next to Crazy Jane, just because he has a dope rogues gallery of villains that we don't know how many enemies he's made over the 100 plus years that he's been alive and stuff. So, and the team is gonna have to deal with all of Niles' problem once he's gone, but they're able to defeat Jack and get back to somewhat normal. And we get this really touching moment between Niles and his daughter Dorothy, and pretty much just telling her it's going to be okay, you don't have to worry about anything. Then we get a scene of Rita and Larry getting a little bit closer. I don't know if they're teasing a relationship maybe down the line in the season, who knows, but it's dope to see Rita actually save somebody, even though she was like almost at the brink of death. But that was really dope. So we get to the end of the episode, and Cliff is pretty much still going off on a rant. Jane comes out of nowhere, literally comes out of nowhere, to pretty much help Cliff come back to his senses. But this is costing to her, because that pretty much lets us know the decision she made. She chose her family over herself. It was a dope ass episode. Let me know how y'all felt in the comments below about this episode. I will check y'all out next time. Peace.
It's crazy as fuck because people, they want you to be you. They want me to be myself, right? It's like, I have like a weird place in life where